From the tragedy of their forbidden workplace romance to the death that rocked us to our very core, here's why Violet and Evan are Chicago Fire's most tragic couple. From the beginning, everyone knew that these star-crossed lovers were going to break our hearts. What started out as a typical office romance, where two colleagues were forbidden by the corporate culture to be together, took only one episode in the middle of season 10 for them to realize their feelings for each other and share a kiss at the annual CFD Gala. Now, the whole two co-workers dating each other situation could have been overlooked, sure, and frankly speaking, it's not even that big of a deal. But the thing is, Evan was not only Violet's colleague, he was her boss. Paramedic Field Chief Evan Hawkins had the hots for one of the underlings, Violet Mikami, and that was not going to end well. The two sneaked around behind everyone's backs, but it doesn't take long for them to be exposed when they are caught kissing by fellow firefighter Rigetti. With the cat out of the bag, the couple are vulnerable to attack from all sides. Violet's ex-boyfriend and literal worst enemy, Blake Gallo, is actually the one to level all kinds of accusations against them. He accuses Evans of favoring his girlfriend and blabs to the Chicago Fire higher-ups about the couple's on-duty behavior. After that, Hawkins was pulled into an official disciplinary meeting where he gets issued a verbal warning, which meant that the couple have to stay away from each other at all costs. Who knew a kiss would get them into so much trouble? Secret relationships aside, though, everyone was still rooting for this couple. I'm not sure if it was the tabooness of it all or just the epic chemistry the two had. Fans were literally in love with Hakami from the get-go. The two characters had explosive chemistry with their stolen glances and brushing hands. It was all part of the spectacular build-up to their first kiss. And after that happened, it was like someone really cranked up the heat because, woo, Chicago Fire started getting a whole lot steamier. The kisses, the intimate scenes, the declarations of love, they were all what made the hiding and the secrets and lies worth it in the end. Even when Hawkins tells Violet that he can't see her anymore. Right after he got the warning, fans could tell it was all to protect the literal love of his life. And no amount of harsh words could ever hide that love and adoration. They were also outraged when news of the couple being forcefully separated broke out. And gosh, Twitter really was on fire that day. A fan even tweeted saying that Evan and Violet don't need time apart and that they are meant to be together. Even if you forget Gallo trying to be a huge pain in the butt by trying to sabotage them, Hakami are also just a normal couple who go through their own ups and downs throughout the show. There's points where Violet was convinced that the paramedics field chief was cheating on her when he went to a meeting in Milwaukee. And, of course, then there's the whole Emma Jacobs character arc that had Violet on the literal end of her rope. Emma had just transferred into Firehouse 51 and was trying so hard to dislodge Violet from it, and even tried to blackmail Hawkins into transferring her out. And what's funny is that all of this comes after Violet saves her life on call one night. Naturally, Violet asked Evan to transfer Emma out, but things didn't go according to her plan, and he refused to do that. I mean, it's not like you can blame Evan either, considering he was just concerned that it'd come off as favoritism if he did this for her. Not to mention, with the whole ambulance thing where he'd already bumped up Violet's ambulance in the repair waiting list, it was more important than ever that he appeared indifferent to her. But this didn't mean Emma was the root cause of the problems in their relationship. Despite everything, Violet and Evan still confessed their love for each other. So all's well that ends well, I guess. But some of the problems the couple face aren't even close to being normal couple problems, though. They're straight-up cruel little tropes put there by the showrunners to completely shatter the audience. But God, do we love the pain? The Emma Jacobs arc snowballed into a whole mountain from a molehill, and she blackmailed Evan into trying to get Violet transferred or she'd get her fired. Wow, that's a heck of a tough spot to be in. Well, I guess Evan was up to the task of taking on someone as vindictive and spiteful as Emma because he went straight to the top to try and save his girlfriend's career. He nearly begs Deputy Chief Hill to get Violet the justice she deserves and says point blank that he's willing to risk his own career for it. Now, if that isn't true love, I have no idea what is. But of course, he comes back to Firehouse 51 to find that Emma had actually abandoned Violet in a fire they'd been putting out, and left her alone to get a pregnant woman to safety. So all in 24 hours, Evan Hawkins was set to lose his job and his girlfriend. Talk about a rough day, huh? And if this wasn't enough, the classic miscommunication set in, and Violet confided in her ex-boyfriend Gallo that she thought Evan could have done more to defend her in the whole Emma situation. At this point, she didn't know that he'd gone and pleaded with the deputy chief, and fans were nearly shouting at their screens, trying to make her understand that he did everything in his power for her. And the only way it all gets resolved is with a gut-wrenching goodbye when Evan Hawkins is the one who transfers and leaves Firehouse 51 and his girlfriend behind. But they agree on a long-distance relationship, and it really looks like for once, it's gonna be smooth sailing ahead. Because now that he wouldn't be her boss anymore, they could finally pursue a normal relationship without the entire Chicago Fire Department brass breathing down their necks. But things rarely work out so perfectly for Hawkami. On his last ever shift at Firehouse 51, Evan Hawkins, ever the hero, runs back into a burning building to save one last victim. But as soon as he runs in, the building collapses right in front of Violet, and it's the worst kind of dread waiting for his dead body to be pulled out of the rubble for her. Man, it was just devastating seeing Violet see his lifeless body come out. And as she sat there performing CPR on him again and again and again, everyone, including the audience, knew that Evan was gone, and it was heartbreaking to watch. Right as things were going to start looking up for the unlikely couple, who'd stuck to each other through thick and thin, Evan's death was the final blow. The character who had just been brought into the series in Season 10 and finally brought some peace into Violet's life after Gallo just had to die by the end of it. Season 10's finale was the last time Hawkami were together, and everyone was completely crushed. Because the two of them never got their happy ever after, fans were losing their minds on Reddit, saying it came as a big shock to them, and that it was really disheartening to see yet another relationship end in death. And that too, so soon after Severide had to watch his girlfriend Anna die from septic shock. Some fans aren't just upset, but they also have a couple of conspiracy theories about the relationship's untimely ending. One Redditor thinks that the show writers panicked after their main man Jesse Spencer left the show, which left a hole in production, and they needed something to amp up ratings. And what's better than a big shocker finale that leaves fans devastated, but still hankering for more, right? Because after Evan's death, the question on everyone's mind was about whether Violet was ever going to be okay again, and fans have some conflicting theories about that too. The cynics out there think the next season was only going to milk the grief for a couple of episodes before forgetting about the storyline completely, but others think that they just had to get Evans out of the way so Violet could get back with Gallo. Other fans even see Hawkins' death as a standalone plot point, separate of his relationship, because it opened up the field chief spot for Brett to continue his story arc. Whatever it is, all these reactions show that this relationship is going to be on everybody's mind for the rest of the series. So, from Evan's heartbreaking death to their star-crossed love, this was why Violet and Evan are Chicago Fire's most tragic couple.